Music for Christmas on BBC Two. From the Barbican in London, Kyrie Te Kanawa, accompanied by the Philharmonia Orchestra and the Tallis Chamber Choir.
City sidewalks and busy sidewalks to rest in holiday style. In the air there's a feeling of Christmas. Children laughing, people passing, meeting smile after smile. And on every street corner you
Kyrie Te Kanawa at Christmas at 8 o'clock on Christmas Eve on BBC Two.
And this is how Kyrie Te Kanawa fits in with the rest of Christmas Eve on BBC Two. We've highlights of the 1986 World Professional Snooker Championship at 6:30, and then following the Christmas concert there's tension amongst the tinsel when a family gather for a traditional Merry Christmas. But the season of goodwill goes somewhat awry in Alan Ayckbourn's play Season's Greetings at 9. Russell Harty throws a Christmas party in Giggleswick at 10:50, and among the guests are Mike Harding, Ivor Cutler, Sue Lawley, Zandra Rhodes, Ned Sherrin and Fred Truman. And then, seeing us into Christmas Day, our film starring Judy Garland and Margaret O'Brien follows the life, loves and tribulations of a St Louis family throughout 4 seasons at the turn of the century. Meet Me in St Louis is our Minelli musical at 11:45 tomorrow night on BBC Two. And now, with a look at what the weather has in store for Christmas Eve, here's Michael Fish.
Good evening to you. Well, temperatures are on the up and up again. In fact, it looks as if it's going to turn out to be quite a mild Christmas. Here are today's afternoon temperatures, and as you see, 2 or 3 degrees higher in most parts of the country, at least, than they were yesterday. And there's a very good reason for that, because this area of high pressure has begun to slip away southwards now, and the winds are pulling back from the north more into the west. And at the same time, those westerly winds are bringing these frontal systems in, and they're bringing with them cloud and outbreaks of rain. And it looks as if we're going to find ourselves in a run of quite mild southwesterly winds before all that long. Now, this afternoon on the satellite picture, you can see the trouble looming out on the Atlantic. A great mass of white cloud there. That's indicating it was quite thick and deep and was going to produce a fair amount of rain. Now, the rain's beginning now to push into Ireland and in towards western Scotland, and during the night that works its way a little bit further in, and then tomorrow down across most parts of the country, although it doesn't get to the southeastern corner until pretty late in the day. Certainly that's after dark. And then tomorrow evening and into Christmas Day, the winds pull round more to a westerly point and the rain clears away into the continent. Anyhow, as far as tonight's concerned, well, as you've just seen from the rainfall sequence, that rain is pushing now in towards western Scotland and Northern Ireland, and that's where it's going to end up during the night. For an hour or two, I think the rain may well be preceded by some sleet or snow, but that's really going to be on the hills rather than anywhere else. But for the east of Scotland and most of England and Wales, a fine dry night with clearing skies, a bit misty in some central parts of England, and the temperature's dropping off too. In fact, there's a frost around at the moment, so do watch out once again for those slippery patches on the roads. But temperatures rising all the while in those western parts there, the wind freshening up at the same time. Now, tomorrow is going to dawn quite grey and wet in Northern Ireland and central and western parts of Scotland, and it won't be long before that rain gets across into the rest of Scotland as well. Quite misty to begin with in some parts of England and Wales, but that clearing away fairly readily, and the day then brightening up with some sunshine. But all the time that cloud and rain will be working its way down from the north, eventually getting to all but the southeastern quarter there of England, certainly that is by the end of the day. And some fairly wet weather coming along, but the rain eventually easing off in many of these western parts and turning rather more drizzly. Now, temperatures are going to go up tomorrow in most parts of the country, the wind freshening as well, so ending up quite windy. But in the north and west, 8 or 9 degrees Celsius is a fairly mild upper 40s Fahrenheit. But in the southeastern corner, despite the fact that that's where you'll have the most of the sunshine, it will once again be rather cold, 5 Celsius being 41 Fahrenheit. But that is going to change on Christmas Day as well, because these fronts will have pushed further across, bringing even the southeast some outbreaks of rain tomorrow night, and that change to milder weather. Now, I'm not entirely sure where that area of low pressure is going to end up. It might be a little bit further south, as a matter of fact. So what this indicates is that on Christmas Day, many places starting off cloudy and fairly damp, but brighter weather soon arriving in northwestern parts, and I think getting to much of the country during the course of the day. One or two showers following along behind in northwest Scotland there, but it might well be quite late in the day before it actually brightens up and completely dries up in the extreme south. Well, we've gone a long way ahead. Let's briefly recap on tomorrow for you. The southeastern quarter of England, quite a dry day, a bright one, rather cold once again, but all other parts of the country ending up fairly wet and eventually quite windy as well. Well, that's all from me this evening. I'll be back with you on Boxing Day. I hope you can join me then, but now let me wish you all a very happy Christmas and good night to you.
Well, now, with the time at 23 minutes to 1, we're well into Christmas Eve, and since I won't be here tomorrow, let me also wish you a very happy Christmas. If you'd like further entertainment, then you could do a lot worse than join Brian Matthew, who's just taken Radio 2 round midnight. He's shortly to be joined by Philip Bergson, picking out some of the best films to be seen on television over the Christmas period. But from me, David Miles, on behalf of everyone working on BBC 2 tonight, may I wish you a very peaceful night. Good night.